We're trying to get all of our board on the phone, so let's, before we start.
All right, is everybody, Brenda, are you there? You know what, Becky? What's the phone number there? Do you have it? Or you know what? Let me call Brenda again, she's up on everything, and then you call me again. She had put herself on mute, and I think that moved it up. Okay, bye.
Okay, it's gonna take another minute before we can get Brenda on board. In the meantime, would everyone please, turn your cell phones to vibrate or turn them off? Silent.
Oh, yeah.
All right, she's working this time. You there? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now let's see if I get Brenda back. Okay, hold on. Hello.
Brenda?
No, it's Sue. So hold on a sec. Let me try calling Brenda. I don't know why it's not working today. Okay, hold on then.
Use my phone.
Okay, Debbie, are you there?
Yes, we are.
Brenda, are you there? Okay, we're all here then.
Okay.
Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning.
Morning, Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda, morning, Sue.
Morning, Sue.
Good morning.
Meeting will now come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for those people affected by the collapsed condo in Miami. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Susan Muniak,
Here.
Donna Mosier,
Here.
Ed Weiner,
Here.
Brenda Owens,
Here.
Lemaine Eifert. Here. Barry Burgess. Here. Jennifer Smiley. Here. And Beverly Hastings.
Here. John, proof of notice of the meeting, John?
Yes, Beverly, as per your documents in Florida statute, notice was posted.
Disposition of prior meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I so move. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the meeting, special meeting that we had, do I have a motion to accept the minutes for now?
I move we accept the minutes for the meeting of June 11th.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so treasurer's report.
Okay. As our income for the month of May was $87,738.89. Expenses were $75,859.11, for a gain of $11,879.78. For the total year at this point, at the end of May, we were at plus $79,055.62. In our total in our operating account, $292,449.93. And the Driftwood account the two Driftwood accounts have a total of $42,668.05. In our current assets, our cash reserve, we have $830,031.61. And delinquencies and fines, there were, for the delinquencies and fines, $18,096.70. Delinquencies and fines at the attorney, $35,758.56, for a total of $53,855.26. And Jeff.
Thank you, Sue. Are there any questions? John, manager's report.
So for the landscaping project out around the clubhouse, we at a previous meeting approved the landscaping design. Later on our agenda, I think we have two proposals based on that design, and a third landscaper we're waiting for his proposal. The pool deck lighting is later on in the agenda as well. Pool decking, since it's been completed, we now have had some substantial rain events, and the pitch and all of the work done to the pool deck seems to be functioning as we had hoped, much better for water runoff than the previous decking. Later on in the agenda, we now have more information to activate the sewer in the wood shop. All of the signs that were previously ordered have now been installed. The library card room, the library flooring was replaced, the room was painted. and the card room is painted, and we're awaiting the new furniture that we're hoping will be delivered in July. We have noticed some potential installation problems with the flooring in the library, and we're waiting for that contractor to come and tell us their thoughts on that flooring. And we have proposals to remove some oak trees in those parts.
Thank you, John. Yes, Lynette?
John, will you explain the proposal from Fast Signs? Is that a new proposal for more signs?
No, that's old. Those signs were ordered, and just the only update is now they've all been installed.
Okay, thank you.
Art committee?
Good morning, my name is Russell Rogers, I live at 8224 Laura Del Rio Drive. This is an accumulation of 2 meetings. We have 33 for approval and none for rejection. Except we have 1 that we preliminarily approved, providing they get a permit from the county because it involves the structure. We can't approve structures, we only approve the concept. And that's the one on, that's the one on 10524 Hill Rise Center. I guess it's center. No,
Court.
whatever.
Court.
Court. Other than that, we had a bunch of them that we had to call people and get answers. Had to provide us with a sketch, dimensions. Some we had to have them come in and sign it. They never signed the thing when they turned them in. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward.
Okay, do I have a motion? Question? Go ahead.
Russ, the rear deck, I understand you were out there. You went out to
Yes.
check it out?
Oh, we made a field trip.
Yeah, I heard. So, it doesn't cover the majority of the property?
There's no grass. It's in between trees and there's nothing there but dirt.
Are they planning on taking trees down or?
She's got to get the pit. I don't know. I know that we met with we talked to the contractor on the phone. We talked to the owner. The neighbor was the one that ushered us around because the owner wasn't there. And I think we were all there. Weren't we, Ed? Everybody was there? Yeah. So everybody was in agreement that it's not covering any grass because there's no grass to be found.
Thank you.
Any other questions by the board? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the approved? Okay, and second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Okay, committee reports. Finance committee.
Chris Dabrowski for Finance. You don't have this report. Patty and I combined our 2 reports and I'll read it to you and then it'll be coming to you. I was excused and Brenda was absent, all of the members present. After careful review of documents, the committee had a few comments for the board. 8 separate checks were made out to a resident. He sold his property and did not stop his automatic payment from the bank. RPM charges us for each check they process. The treasurer, Sue, said she would again talk to RPM about only dispersing 1 check. In the bills regarding check 1430, there was an inspection fee for $100. And we want to know what was inspected and why. And this charge was given to us by RPM. Karen Fritsch brought up the domain site ownership. Mr. Cole has for our site in his name. The committee suggests the board that he would be asked kindly to transfer the ownership to Tosca. This was done during the shutdown because of the pandemic to keep our website up and running. This is not to be a criticism of Mr. Cole rather than a function of those times. And we also asked, does he carry insurance? Because he does come into the clubhouse. Furthermore, it was again noted that RPM failed to pay our taxes for 3 parcels. Cashier checks had to be purchased and the taxes paid in person. And our next meeting is July 26th. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Fines and suspensions.
Was good now, fines and suspension. On June 8, 21, hearings were held for the following residents. Resident at 8020 Aquina Drive, and there was a vehicle in the driveway. The violation was, of course, as when we drove by the day of it, the vehicle was still in the driveway. And the resident at I don't have it. 8105 Merrimack Drive, maintenance of property. The resident was not in attendance. The fine was in force. Resident at 10602 Tappas Street. The entire committee, I guess we took a road trip too, went down to review this, and it appeared that when we first went down, and when we went down at the end, there was no violation, and the picture that we have reflects no violation. So we did not enforce the violation on that.
Okay.
I have a picture of the violation if you want to see what we did. Is there any questions?
Yeah. No, sorry.
Okay, all right, fine. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. The only other committee report I have is new resident orientation for the month of June. There were 6 residents in attendance from 3 households. There were some good questions and some follow-up was needed on a concern. Lori Kreisel is the chairperson, and the whole group as a whole, we're working very well together, all of the committee members. Thank you. Unfinished business. Pool deck lights. John?
So we've talked to a couple of new electricians. We have an updated proposal from the electrician that installed the original lights, and there's been at least 2 electricians on site that we're waiting for proposals to supply additional lighting to pass our certification.
Okay. Any questions?
The other two that were brought in, are they giving proposals also on installing 3 new poles, same as this one is, or do you know?
So the first electrician that I met with, I didn't meet with the electrician, his lighting rep came in, and I think their proposal is going to be to install the same 2 fixtures on either side of the pool, and some adjustments made to the bathhouse lighting, as you were discussing yesterday. And I'm not sure, I don't have complete, you probably know more about the second electrician than I do.
Okay, so the ones you're talking about is, I think the one was it green that you said was here in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, and Donna, you have more information on the one we spoke to? You
Yeah,
wanna
the
give-
one that we spoke, like. Is it on now? Hold it, on now?
No.
No. It is on. Okay, there we
Oh,
go.
they hear you, Mom.
Yeah, anyway, the guy came out yesterday, he looked at what we had. He thinks that we can put 3 more advanced spotlights onto the bathroom building, which will take care of the 1 pole to go there. He's going to do a U-shaped fixture that will project out stronger lights at the other 2 poles where they wanted to right there where they want to put the other 2 poles, it'll cover that area. And he's certified with the county and everything. He feels like that he could write a letter, tell them what he's done, and we should get approval. His price came out to about $2,700, I think, rough estimate, on the high side.
Question,
Yes.
on that one, is there any guarantee that it will pass state inspection? It's not the county that inspects, it's the state.
Actually, Donna, he is state certified, not county certified. He also said in lieu of having an engineer come out here again, because he is state certified, he should be able to write on his letterhead and present to Pasco County for us to be certified for night swimming.
Is he guaranteeing that?
He will also come out before anything is done and make sure that the lumens will pass. He has his own equipment to do that.
In other words, this guarantee is not a guarantee.
Not at this point, he is still giving us a rough estimate. I don't think we have a guarantee from anyone, do we?
No, that's what we were saying before.
Well, that's what we talked.
That everyone was having. I'm just asking if this will be guaranteed. That's all.
Donna, go ahead, sorry. The thing is, nobody will give us a guarantee, but are we willing to spend almost $7,000 to $8,000 more than we've already spent, or we want to cut down the price and get the same effect?
I am just saying that the last time the previous board got ripped over the coals because we didn't have any guarantee. Now you are saying the same exact thing, that nobody will give you a guarantee. I'm just pointing that out.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Sorry.
I was there yesterday, and he did say that he would make sure that with his light meter, that there was enough light that it would pass. He said if his light meter didn't show that it would pass, then he would come up with a different light operation.
And we would have to pay for the other.
For what other?
It's the same thing as what we had before.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
It's not the same, you don't have to tear up the pavers, you don't have to install 3 poles, and you don't have to pay as much money, so it's not the same.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying that we were raked over the coals because you said you should have gotten a guarantee with it. You should have gotten a guarantee. You are getting the same guarantee. If it saves money, fine. I'm not opposed to that. I'm just saying that what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
So you were not only raked over the coals for the lack of a guarantee, it was also the fact that no one other than some part of the membership, board members that were on at that time, said that they thought there might be a problem and we might have to redo this after it was done. And the majority of residents, as well as some of the board, said they were not aware of that. That was the problem more than anything else, is the fact that it was all done, all completed, papers put back, and it did not pass inspection. So now we're supposed to turn around and almost double what the price he had originally given us in order to fix a problem that we thought we weren't supposed to have. It wasn't just a guarantee. The guarantee part came because we did not pass that inspection. And so we're saying, now what? He's going to go in and do something else. And he's saying, oh, now it should pass. That was the problem. And this gentleman has given us as much of a guarantee as I believe we're going to get. And he is not going to have to go back in and redo it. If his light lumens, when he checks and he feels it's not going to pass, he's not going to do it in the first place.
And, LeMay, that is not the big problem. The big problem is that the board voted, and that was a unanimous vote to go with the contractor. And if some board members didn't know to ask, haven't found out the information of why, that's on those board members. The board was aware and had the information available to them. If they didn't go find out on it, that's shame on those board members.
Let's stop this. We're not going to go back over this all over again. What we're doing is trying to fix a problem that is there. I know it was voted unanimously to put those lights in. We're not arguing that. We're arguing the fact that we need to fix the problem. We just need to fix the problem. We met with an electrician who also can hopefully put his vote in or put his letter into the state or to the county to get our night swimming done so that we don't have to go through this again. We don't have to pay this engineer another price to come in and do it, and it will be done reasonably. And he is going to put filters on, and it will solve the problem. Aesthetically, no, it will not look as great as putting in 3 more poles, but the pool will not need to be closed at all. We will not need to pull up pavers and redo them, and the problem will be solved.
Thank you. I think the rest of the board has not seen, we weren't notified that you guys were meeting with this other electrician. So I personally would want to see the proposal and go over it before we vote on it, if that's okay. All right, so this will be tabled again.
And is it possible to do like an emergency meeting like we did the last time as soon as we get these
Yes,
proposals in?
we'll do an
So it can be
emergency.
taken care of.
Right. Okay, moving right along. Quiet in the audience, please. Okay. Clubhouse landscaping. Who's gonna present that, John? John?
So we have 2 complete proposals for the landscape installation around the clubhouse. I don't have the exact totals on me. I have it in the office, but I don't have it on me. I think they're both in the same ballpark of roughly $27,000. And we're waiting for the third, as I mentioned earlier.
Okay, Donna.
Well, I pulled up the pictures so that we could see what kind of flowers they're talking about putting out there. And a lot of them are real dark colored. There's some of them, like the crepe myrtles, yes, I think they would be very pretty out there. The lantana, I think would be very pretty out there. But it's like taking some of the flowers from this one and putting with that one to give us more color at a cheaper price. But I also compared the prices on the list that he gave us for each breakdown. So each breakdown, as far as the flowers go, like the $1,000 whatever, they're right about the prices. so I'm not arguing with that. I don't know where we're getting the 28,000 though for, is that like taking, say, we have landscape plan number 1. Is that like putting 5 of those out there is why this total is so high? Because on the sheet, it's only saying like 1,400 or something like that.
If you do the math and you add up the proposals, they're both in the neighborhood of 27,000.
But that's taking all the sheets, right?
Right, it's the whole thing, not separate.
Right. Entire project added together.
Okay, so he's going to take all of these sheets and put out there, is that right?
Yeah, if you look at the sheet, if you take each individual sheet, you can find the section on the plan and it lines up.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Well, because I did have kind of, a problem with some of the plants being a little too dark. And I don't think that they're really gonna show much of a color. But that's up to everybody else.
We're still waiting for one more proposal, correct? So we can't really vote on this at this time. Go ahead.
Didn't we already approve the plan?
Yeah, the plan is already
So
approved.
the plan is approved, so at this point, we know we got 2 bids for around $27,000. So we can do these in sections, or we can still, say, okay, instead of 5 of these plants in this section, we'll put 3 or something like that to reduce our amount. Can we do that?
I believe we can. John, go ahead and answer that.
So Ed, the plan was approved for bid purposes. What you guys choose to do with the bids after they come in is up to you. You're right. If part of the bid calls for 5 plants and you'd rather have 3 for whatever reason, that's the board prerogative.
Well, I know we originally budgeted like 15,000 for this project, and we're almost double that with these bids, and I don't think it's gone up. But I mean, maybe we can cut back on some of these things and get the price a little closer to where we originally intended.
I think the plan was to get the 3 bids in and then let you guys fine tune the final product.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments on this? We have to wait for the last. Does anyone in the audience have anything to come? Okay. Expansion joints is the next thing. And John, I'm going to refer to you.
So we had talked about expansion joints at a previous meeting, and we were told to do a sample area. That's been done now for, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks or so. We've got to count if we want to continue and replace the rest of the expansion joints around the clubhouse facility. It's about 1,100 linear feet at $4 per linear foot.
Have all the board members looked at the expansion joints out front? That was one of the. Yes. Thank you. I'm a little slow today. I think they look great. I mean, I think it's a good product, personally, because it's not going to deteriorate like the wood, and it's not going to bow like the wood was. We all know what lumber prices are doing right now. I thought it was a good solution to the problem, but I'm only one.
Eliminate.
I agree. I think something needs to be done, and the other thing we're doing is with all the other expansion joints with the wood, there's constantly holes or chips or, chirping problems with them. So, at this point, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal to replace 1,100 linear feet at $4 per foot as proposed.
I'll second that. Okay, is there any discussion on it? John?
Just so that we're all on the same page, Mark, we're doing that in-house. We're just ordering the product and installing it. So, and it's relatively simple. We can probably, wouldn't surprise me if we could get it all done in maybe, what, Mark, 2 days? We just have to order the product and wait for it to arrive.
Okay,
May
let's,
I ask
So just for clarity, what is the product?
It's a final product that's made for 2x4 expansion joint replacement. It appears to be, so it's been in the ground, again, I think about 6 weeks, and it's a maintenance-free product. You put it in and you forget about it.
Sue, you have a question?
Yes, I'd like if, I believe Renee made the motion, if you could, put in it that is to be expensed from operating expenses. That it would be $4,400 from operating.
Okay, did you get that, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay, so can we add, John?
Well, I'm sorry, one more edit. You may want to be generic and say to include delivery and sales tax.
Yes.
So we're amending the motion to state that it will be $4,400 plus any state sales tax and delivery charges to be taken from the operating expenses.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good. If there's no more questions or comments, let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Maintenance building, update on the sewer installation. Sean?
So our engineer has completed the legwork to getting a approval through the county. We don't have approval yet, but we know what we need to do to get the approval or the direction that we have to go. We basically know what would satisfy the county, and we have a preliminary ballpark proposal from site contractor. And the total high ballpark price is in the neighborhood of $50,000 for that, to install and connect and legitimize the sewer at the main.
Jennifer?
Okay, well, I think most people know I'm in favor of having sewer lines put into that maintenance building for the benefit of our maintenance staff, not because of any other reason. I think it's inhumane to treat them worse than you would your dog or your cat. But that being said, we do not have this amount in our budget at this time. I think it's going to have to be tabled and put into next year's budget or the future budget. But I think it's something that is definitely an aspirational thing to have, because we're making people use a restroom here. They're traipsing in with their dirt, there's whatever. We all have restrooms in our homes. I don't know anyone that has worked at a location that has not had facilities unless you're on the road. But I think we need to table this for another budget year.
Monet?
I have to say that I'm not in agreement with that. I don't see the maintenance building as somewhere where our maintenance people need to be for any length of time. It almost looks like there's an office out there, but I don't see a reason why we need an office for any reason other than repairing things that are broken, or, pool lounge chairs, or picking up parts or different things that are stored out there. I don't think there's a reason to have a bathroom out there. As far as traipsing in and out, if they're muddy or whatever, we do have bathrooms in the pool area that can be used. I think $50,000 is way too high to put a bathroom out there for any reason. And that has nothing to do with whether we move the wood shop out there or what we do with that. I just think it's way too high price. And to put it in next year's budget, I think we have enough expenditure going out to maintain what we already have.
Ed?
John, was there any breakdown in that 50,000? Why it's so high? Because I know we weren't expecting anything over 20.
So the original thought was, there's an existing lift station out there. The original thought, if you go back to first base on this project, was that we were going to be able to retrofit the existing lift station and we were going to be in something under $10,000, right? That was the hope, that we might be in the $5,000 to $6,000 range for the entire project. That's where we started. The county didn't see it that way. So we've got a breakdown, again, they're ballpark breakdowns. We've got a breakdown from the engineer on what his additional cost would be to get us through the county process. And we've got a limited breakdown from the site contractor on what his charge.
Is it mostly fees to the county?
I can tell you what we have. So from one site contractor, and the engineer asked them a bit high because we're not to the point where they're gonna come out and measure and get serious about an estimate. From the site contractor, their estimate is $28,800. From the engineer, we've got a breakdown on his hourly rates and stuff, and he is expecting to be in the neighborhood of about $10,000. So that comes out to close to 40. We round up, I'm rounding up because I'd rather be safe than sorry. The high number is 50. The realistic number might be closer to 35.
Still a lot.
Okay. What, should we take, do we have a motion?
Do we need to make a motion to stop pursuing this, or, I think, John?
We're kind of done at this point unless the board decides to move ahead in one direction or the other, but at this point, I've satisfied what was previously asked of me by the board.
Thank you, John. Okay, so then there's nothing to be done at this point. Okay, new business. Tree removal at Oaks Park. Review of the proposals. Hey, do we have? Let me see one here. Okay,
I would like to make a motion.
okay.
I move that we go with AZ Tree Services to remove the 2 oaks in Oak Park and grind the stumps and haul away everything, for a total of $2,500 and to come out of, operating expenses.
Second.
John,
So the only question mark that I have, this is a good tree company I personally use. I've done a lot of work in the area. They did not put on their proposal that they would obtain the permit. So I maybe would edit that pending, their positive affirmation that a permit will be obtained.
I will edit the motion to say pending permits, to include permits, permitting of gaining county permit.
Again, second.
okay, is there any discussion? LeMay?
I just think the residents should know there were 2 bids on this. One was from 3 Seasons, and that amount was $6,700 as compared to AZ Tree Services, which was $2,500. The only difference that I can see is that they would pull the permit, which actually was not put on A to Z, but I think that might have been an oversight.
Okay, let's take a vote. Oops, yes, Karen?
Was the company you're considering, is anyone an arborist in that crew?
That I don't know. Go ahead.
Karen, they are, insured, bonded, and licensed. Tree removal, trimming, they have nothing on about treating trees, just removal.
Okay, are you trimming or removing?
Removing.
Oh, you're removing,
They're
okay,
dead.
okay.
Okay, Debbie, would you just clarify the motion so we have it?
To contract with AZ Tree Services to remove 2 oak trees in Oak Park, to grind and haul away debris, and to include the cost of permitting, which would, in the amount of $2,500 plus the cost of permitted obtained.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. The property insurance, renewal of the policy. The board all came in individually and signed on this, so we just have to, I guess, take a vote to make it on the record. What happened is our property insurance for Tosca, expired at the end of June. We did not have the bids or the information prior to our last meeting. Therefore, we had to do an action without a meeting, which means we all had to agree on which proposal we took. We had 2 different bids. Property insurance, as most people have known or realized, has skyrocketed. It actually went up higher than even the budget committee had thought. So what we all voted on is ICAT is the carrier. It is through Barrett as our agent. And it's in the amount of $39,813.74. A year. Per year. But you have to realize what we're insuring are all of our assets.
Which have gone.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
which is good.
We actually had everything reappraised, which also made our property insurance go up because our property is more valuable than it used to be. So there's a silver lining in it, but unfortunately you have to pay for that. So that's what we're voting on. Okay. LeMay, did you have anything else?
Just to explain, we had 2 choices. The other one was about $8,000 less per year, but it did not cover replacing up to code, which would cost us a lot more than the difference in insurance. So of the 2 choices we had, I know different members of the board really looked into this and decided that we were better off clubhouse and members taking the higher costs. Plus, like we said, we all know property values have skyrocketed, and we all know our own insurance has gone up ridiculously. Not much we could do about it.
May I add one other thing?
Sure, so.
By taking the ICAT insurance, it actually covers, the RV lot wall, which we had a separate policy, so we will be saving the amount of that insurance by it being in the other insurance. So that's about like a $1,500 saving, which brings it closer to the other carrier.
Okay. Does
Make a
anyone,
motion that we approve the signing and the thing, of the insurance that we emergency.
okay. Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Vapor smoking, a discussion to not permit vapor smoking at the pool area. Any comments from the board? Donna?
Well, I know I've been up there at the pool several times, and I myself, I don't know about any of you guys, but I myself have asthma, and I can't stand to be around the smell of cigarette smoke. And when these people come up and they start vaping, you put out 3 times more of that smoke. And I've seen them, I've asked them not to do it, and it's right here up on the pool level. They're not outside the gate, they're right in here, and they act like, well, you said no smoking, but you didn't say anything about vaping. So we're making a motion to add vaping in there as well as cigarette smoking.
Okay, Donna, you want to make that a formal motion,
Yes,
please?
I'd like to add vaping to the proposal for the pool restriction for non-smoking.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, John?
Sue might actually know this better than I do, but this might fall under the category of sending out the postcard and giving the homeowners typically notice because we're changing the use of the property.
I didn't hear that.
We may need to send out the postcard to the homeowners to alert them to the potential change of the use of the property.
Well, I think it needs to be done. Because there's a lot of people that's been out there that's complained about it too, it's not just me.
Sue, go ahead.
I know what John is saying, and I agree that it should be done, but I think we have to give notice to that there will be a change in the rules that affect the use of the property, so that we have to send out a postcard to everyone saying that the rules will be at the next meeting, and at the next meeting we can approve it. I mean, I'm in agreement that it shouldn't be that smoking should include vaping, but since it's not stated and we have people who are not agreeing with that theory, then I think we need to put this back on the agenda for the next meeting and send out a postcard to everyone to tell them that there will be a meeting that will be discussing this.
Okay, Renee.
On our original proposal, where it said no smoking, was all type of smoking, like cigar and pipe. I know I had to tell someone pipe smoking was not allowed. Yeah, they were on the lower deck and they didn't see the signs. And,
Amazing.
yeah, and another time, and this is crazy, I was in a hot tub and somebody was vaping in the hot tub. Yeah. And Jerry Beers, former board member, was there, and I, and he said, it's not on anywhere. So I guess I couldn't say anything, I didn't say anything to them, besides I didn't know them, and it wasn't someone I wanted to really address, so.
I think more and more places are considering vaping smoking.
I would have thought that would have been included originally.
Well, vaping has just gotten popular lately. And so it is still kind of considered smoking.
John?
I'm not the lawyer, and maybe this is a conversation for the lawyer, but you do have a rule against smoking, and how does the board define smoking?
So maybe when we send this out, we need to say smoking of all kind, including vaping, pipe, cigars, cigarettes.
No, I'm suggesting that maybe it's not a rule change, it's just the
Clarification.
the clarification of the existing rule.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be, and
So as a clarification, will we still have to do a notification?
Oh, we shouldn't have to.
No. As long as we as a board agree to define our rule as smoking includes pipe, cigar, vaping, cigarettes,
Just as a clarification.
any pot. Oh, yeah.
Any substance?
Anything that can be.
Yeah, that really should be put on.
Yeah,
Because that is medically allowed, but then can we then say you can't?
Right.
Well, you can chew it.
Yeah, they can too, but it's not the lower deck, right? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. John,
So maybe we change the motion to, that the motion is to clarify the existing smoking rule, and since we have a signage that already says no smoking, maybe we just put up some temporary laminated signs that clarifies.
okay, so Donna, would you just redo your motion, please? Clarify.
Okay, so I'll make the motion that we add the clarification sign that John has said, so that we can clarify that vaping is considered smoking,
For our definition of smoking.
or a definition of smoking, yes.
To include all.
Is that giving John permission to go and check with the attorney whether that would cover it? Or do we need to do that?
I don't know, so I think we just, as a board, define the rule.
Right, we're just defining,
We're clarifying what
Clarify.
no smoking means.
right. Okay, so who seconded, did you second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any discussion from the residents? Okay. Yeah, let's have a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, board vacancy. We have to nominate someone to fill the secretary's position. Who was Jean Hare was the secretary, and Donna has come on to replace Jean Hare, but we still have to vote in a secretary. Yes.
I'd like to nominate Lemaine Eifert for secretary.
All right, are there any other nominations from the board? Okay, let's take a vote. The nomination is for Lemaine Eifert to be the secretary of the TAXA board. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Okay. Motion carried. LeMay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fines and suspensions. Okay. Let's see. We have 8231 Laura Del Rio Drive. Notice of non-compliance. He's had his third letter. Yes, Jennifer.
I made a motion that we send this property owner at 8231 Laura Del Rio to for finding at $50 per day up to $5,000.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. 8741 Woodcrest Drive. Yeah, there's a lot of debris in the yard, and I believe they are on their third notice.
Yes.
Okay, Jennifer?
I make a motion that we send the property owner of 8741 Woodcrest finding of $50 per day up to $5,000.
Do I have a second for that motion?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Barry, didn't hear you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We'll get those to you. Yes, John?
I think, Barry, correct me, is one of those in Driftwood?
Yes.
So that's worth mentioning, right? Kudos to the committee, and we've got someone in Driftwood going to find.
you want me to say something, John? I'm sorry.
I'm just giving you and your committee a pat on the back,
Oh,
Barry.
thank you, John. Not used to that.
I just wanted to hear it twice.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all you're getting, Barry.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
What about the ones that Liz presented? Are those up for finding now? From her reports, the two that didn't. They were. Oh, okay.
All but the
They've already
one.
been fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Everything's up to date.
Okay, good. Thank you, Liz. Good job. Sure.
I just wanted to make this comment. I am on this thing called Neighborhood. I don't know if anyone else has been on it. I don't know if you're aware of it, Barry. There were complaints that they were being singled out. Did you see that at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And, yeah, it also, if you notice,
Your mic is there.
also, if you notice, there was a lot of responses that said, you live in a deed restricted community, you know that, get over it.
There was a lot of good discussion on there coming back, and I guess they were talking about doing something legally, and they said you have to prove it, which would be impossible.
Well, I think where that's coming from is that was one particular resident that was parking a commercial vehicle on their lawn right up against their front door, and they felt like they were being picked on.
Okay, moving right along to correspondence, which I'm not sure. I guess we're gonna find out, because here she comes.
I'm not sure what the first one was that I got.
Okay, Luciola on Casuarina Drive. The second one about the maintenance building, since you tabled it, that's a non-starter today. However, my comment would be on a resident committee for contract work. I know we have a lot of retired professionals in our community, and a gentleman at the last board meeting suggested that we compile these people together for big projects like the landscaping or the lighting. I don't know if we're going into any other big projects, but if we had a committee ready to go with residents that could put their expertise together to help formulate bids, find out if the companies are reputable, verbiage in contracts, whatever the need may be. If the board could consider possibly putting together a resident committee.
Like an ad hoc.
Yes,
committee.
yes, yes. And that's it.
We'll take it under consideration. It's a very good idea. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I think it's,
We already talked about doing this in October.
you know,
No,
I
the
think
One
resident
meeting.
suggested.
Yeah.
We as a board have not discussed it.
I also think it's a great idea. I hope we can get volunteers to do it. That has been the biggest problem that we come up with. And I think we should, I think when most of probably September, October is a good idea to start when more people are back.
Right.
So we can put that on maybe in the October, board agenda and see what we can come up with.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
What are we gonna talk about for the next 2 hours?
We're gonna adjourn and go home.
We have, open forum, we have a group of residents here that needs to speak.
We know,
We don't, you have your open floor.
Okay.
I wasn't, I was joking.
The last couple meetings we've had have been, 3-4 hour meetings, so that's why we're trying to make light of it.
Well, good luck.
Thanks. Donna, did you have something you wanted to say?
Not right now, I was just
Okay.
getting back up here.
All right, anybody, any other, questions from the board on anything? You want to make a comment? Go ahead.
I would just like to say thank you to Lisa and her committee in Driftwood Village. You're doing a good job. It's evident that it's slow, but it's starting to clean up in there and people are starting to, I noticed a couple, request forms for roofing. That's great. I don't think we ever had those before, so it's starting to look up. And just want to say thank you, Lisa, for following through and committee reports too. So thank you, Lisa.
That's doing a very good job. Any last words to say?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would just like to say, I am thrilled that there are so many people here. I hope that continues to increase because I think we need residents to understand what's going on here. I'm kind of disappointed sometimes. I read the Facebook comments and there's so many things that are put on there that are inaccurate, and to combat them, to combat them on Facebook is really time consuming when information is available if you show up here. So thank you all for coming.
How about this then? Nothing? Okay, thank you all for coming. The meeting is,
I guess I have to vote on it.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. I
okay,
make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Excuse me, please.
yes,
May I address the board?
we're gonna have you at the open forum after this meeting, okay?
Thank you.
All right, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Now we have open forum.
Okay, for those in attendance, my name's Carol Lucion. I live in Oak Forest. We've had an ongoing problem over 2 years, and would all the residents that are gonna speak, please come forward. We have videos, pictures, we have documentation, we have letters that have been sent to the office, we have residents that have called the front office, and just a little backdrop. The Sheriff's Department has done, we called in to, what was that? Call it a thief, call it a drug dealer thing. Yeah, we called Crime Stoppers for over 6 months with vehicle, people, car descriptions, time of day. We did all that. They came out, they surveillance, they went to the door. It's accumulated to nothing. What we're asking, and here is some of the proof. What we're asking is that we get a letter to this home to ask them to stop running a business. We do not want a business in the middle of our residential community.
Before you speak, could I kind of add a little something to Karen's? She did make a motion to be put on the agenda on July the 2nd, and it was refused because they didn't actually get to put it on until the 6th. Right.
The storm and the
Because of the
holiday.
storm and the holiday, I understand that. But I have also called this sheriff's office, and they will only speak to a board member about this.
You are a board.
I am. So I'm gonna be following up on this. I'm just giving everybody one.
Hi, I'm John Shepherd. I live on Mira Vista, across the street from this being called a business. I was gonna let them deal with that. Anyhow, this business has been in operation since about February of 2000. They have cars coming in and out throughout the day and night. On the 1-year anniversary, I decided to do a 1-week check of how many cars came to this house. In 1 week, I personally saw 39 cars. Heard at least another 7 or 8. I have written 60 emails to our sheriff's department. I have supplied details of which cars come when. I have personally seen at least 15 illegal transactions take place across the street from my house. There's drug paraphernalia on the street on Mira Vista. There are druggies walking through our development all times of the day and night. It's scary. Let me give you one example. A couple weeks ago, I decided to go to Arby's. It's 20 minutes to the back. There was a car at this house. I came back 20 minutes later, that car was gone. A second car. was there. As I pulled into my garage and closed the garage door, that car took off, a third car pulled up. This car had all the windows down. The resident came out and tossed packages to each of the people inside the car and then collected money and they drove off. I saw a business deal go down 2 days ago. It was over in 3 minutes. The guy came up, put his windows down, got his product, and left. This goes on day and night. It's scary when you see the kinds of people coming into our village. I think if we are not careful with this kind of business, if we fail to do anything, is opportunistic. Timber Oaks will become known as the place where you can come in, set up business, and no one's going to do anything. I appreciate your offer. I would really like to request that the board have our sheriff come and talk to us residents personally and explain why it's taken 15 months when I supply the cars, what the cars look like when they come, the drivers, their license plate numbers, and some of these people coming in are really scary looking people. So that's it. I have all 60 of those emails that I will send to any board member that wants to see them.
And I do have pictures here that shows there are several different kinds of cars that come to this house.
So they're not selling the line, right?
Actually, I think it's Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. My name is Jacqueline Baylon. I live at 10534 Salamanca Drive. 2 years ago, I wrote a letter to the board detailing some information about this. I received a call from John telling me his inability to do anything. I respect that. But I'd like to read to you the letter that I wrote September of 2020. To whom it may concern. There's a growing concern in my neighborhood for the safety of those residing here. A residence on, I gave the address, appears to be openly conducting business throughout the day and night. At times, there are several cars waiting in line, extending around the corner to receive a bag. This activity is conducted blatantly, even when neighbors are out chatting or walking their dogs. In the past, I contacted Pasco County Sheriff's Department regarding this activity, and I know a stakeout took place for about a week. I am unaware of any deterrent to the activity. People are having their yards used as a shortcut to the above address. It is rather frightening to see some unknown people walking through your yard. Today, 2 syringes were found in the grass close to this address. One syringe was full, one was empty. I've lived in this community for over 10 years. I've been content living within what I consider to be a secure area. I care for my neighbors and my property. Please address this problem to keep us safe. I do not want this wonderful community to deteriorate because of indifference to negative elements within it. Monday afternoon, a neighbor to the above address was returning to his home. A car, which is a frequent visitor, and a woman who lives at the address began tailgating my neighbor. This continued until he reached his home, and then a driver gave an obscene gesture to my friend. Harassment to a senior is not the way to live in Timber Oaks. Please submit this correspondence to the board at the next meeting. This behavior needs to stop. And I also want to say that this house is in complete compliance. Its driveway's neat. The grass looks great. There's nothing aside from the property that is inappropriate, except with what goes on within the building and out in our streets. Thank you very much.
There's a gentleman now.
My name is David Hill. I live at 10535 Mara Vista Drive, and I concur with my two friends here. I have observed for 2 years this action going on. I'm a former officer of the San Diego Superior Court, in which I conducted this type of business for over 20 years. I'm not going to mix words. This is not a business. There's prostitution and drugs going on in this residence, which affects some of my neighbors that are elderly and women. As she has said, we have vagrants walking through houses to this home. This activity is conducted 24 hours a day. 2 days ago, the man that lives there stopped at my residence, opened his window and asked me if I had a problem with it. I told him, yes, I have a problem with you. I have a problem with the activities that are being conducted within that house. Something needs to be done. It's only going to get worse. We suspect other activities are going on. I have pictures, date and time coded, of the vehicles, of the dealers that I suspect are dealers. In fact, I'm pretty well aware of, are dealers, license plates, times, dates. It's amounting to being over 40 cars a day. It's ridiculous. The board needs to take some type of action. Thank you.
Isn't that information to the sheriff's department?
I have given all the information to the sheriff's department.
I just wondered.
I've had.
Unfortunately, speaking for myself, I feel this is a legal issue, it's not an HOA issue. I wish we had more tooth to it.
Stop, Jennifer.
I think maybe you need to look at the age possibly of the woman that's living there. Initially, she told my resident who lives next door to me he was his wife. Well, it's pretty well known she's not. And she might be under the age of legally being, she's been there for 2 years.
She's under 55?
Oh, absolutely.
But is he over 55?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's all that matters, just one home,
Okay, well-
has to be 55.
Okay.
There'll be some action that'll eventually occur here. There's gonna be danger occurring here. You are made aware of it at this point.
I would like to suggest that the board take action on the pretense that it's an illegal business going on in the middle of a residential community. I have a friend around towards the front on Mira Vista, and there were 2 syringes on his driveway. And had a dog gone up and sniffed and got pricked by the end of that needle, who knows what's in it, the dog could have died. The thing about it, and I called the sheriff's department, they came and bagged them. The sheriff's department knows. When I called the sheriff's department, they said it could be an ongoing investigation. It could take, I said, what, 2 to 3 years? It goes, oh, well, it could take up to 10. I said, these people don't have 10 years. So you as a board need to protect the safety and the well-being and the mental health of our community. You need to issue a letter to that home stating that we do not allow businesses to run in our community. I don't care if they're selling lollipops or Avon. You can't have 40 cars going in and out every day to a house. It's inappropriate behavior.
Thank you.
If I may, once again, yes, I have contacted 2 separate deputies. Deputy Nixon came at the first incident back in May of 2000, after we'd written a lot of negative stuff to the sheriff's department, trying to get them to take action. Deputy Green is the person who has received over 50 emails from me. I reiterate what's been said. If you guys don't do something, we're applying all the pressure we can. Legally, I know you can't do anything, but failure to act, it won't matter 10 years from now what color my garage door is. What will matter is my neighborhood safe. Currently, it is not safe. You can spend all the time you want discussing what the flowers look like or how big the grass, how long the grass is, but you're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic by not acting. Thank you.
May I reply to some of this? I agree, and I know legally there's nothing we can do. I'm willing to step up with Donna. I don't know if any other board members are, but we will certainly try to get in touch with someone and try and set up a meeting with members of the board who are willing and the residents that are here or anyone else who has information, because this is ridiculous that it's gone on so long and they're doing nothing. I mean, we can at least take it to the news. I mean, at this point, to try and get this stopped because they're running a business. If the police aren't willing to stop this, how can we even prove that they're running a business?
We've got to prove they're running something. We don't care.
I would like you also to know that the cars that are going to and from this property 24 hours a day are going by my house at rates of exceeding speed. And with all the people walking their dogs, women that look very much like you up there are gonna be hit one of these days. And when I yell out and they flip me off, to slow it down. And they're coming around a bend, both directions is around a bend to this house. There's no visibility, motorcycles. You're now made aware, people.
I understand that, and I'm glad that you brought this up. I was not aware of all this going on, but if the police are not willing to do anything, there isn't anything legally that we can do. Like I said, I will gladly sit at a meeting. We will contact them and see what we can, but what are they going to do about it?
Is it legal to run a business?
Excuse me, I have trouble standing and walking, all right? My thing to you guys.
Wait a second.
My question to you guys, because I know this has been going on a lot also, and I don't even live in that section. But I'd like to know, since this was mentioned once before, and it was brought up to our board and our office, has this organization, because you were on the board, maybe not on the board, has this ever been written in our minutes to show proof that the community has notified the board and the corporation we have a problem? Because this is not in the regular minutes when it's discussed outside the meeting. So has this ever been put in any of your meetings that the community's complained? No. So I think it should be put in your meetings minutes that this is an ongoing problem, because then somebody's going to get in trouble for not notifying you. And a letter should go out to that household that they have to stop having any kind of business, because if they were selling, like they said before, Tupperware, they would get a notification.
Yeah.
So you don't have to say you're doing meth or anything else, but you should send a letter out from the office that the community is concerned about the traffic. And you people, when I say you people.
Is it an HOA procedure that cars are not to be parked on the street at night?
No, that's the county.
Because there is one car of a red person living in there, a black car, with a plastic bag over the window that's been there for 2 weeks.
All right, well, wait a second. I would like to have this information put in a regular board meeting to show that the community has brought this up. Not that it's just flaked off as somebody talking after the fact. Thank you.
I believe that in minutes for open forum are not kept. I think the only way should correspondence have been put in if there was a letter sent, so that.
I tried to get it on correspondence at this time. I'd like to be put on correspondence for the next meeting. I want this logged, dated on our correspondence for our meeting, so there's some liability held to Timber Oaks.
I do believe that's a deed
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, Sue, go ahead, Sue.
I understand what the problem is, and I don't like it being in Timber Oaks. It is not, it is definitely a legal problem. If the police, the sheriff's department is ignoring it, we need to do something else that can do something. A letter from the HOA is not going to do anything.
Susan, if you find a different.
Wait a second.
No, Susan, I do not have to listen. I do not have to listen to you on an open forum. I'll tell you what. Listen to me, Susan. If you send them a letter and they do not, if you send them a letter and they do not stop, they can be fined $50 a day.
ABC, NBC, CBS, the ones who help people who have a problem, bring it to their attention. Let the police know that it's more than just a thing, and after 2 years, you expect some action.
Shut her up. We all said the sheriff knows.
She's a dumb person.
Hey, that'll be enough. Enough.
Let me tell you something, Beverly.
Okay, motion's adjourned.
Okay, good. You're not gonna do anything, you're worthless, but we've got people who care enough to do something. We shall see.
We said we would do something.
Good, I hope you get a letter out to that home.
Right.